What's up y'all, it's swifteyy. Today I'm about to show you how to make guitar loops for nocap without using a real guitar. First off, I used the plugin Semi Hollow by Ample Guitar with the default preset, and then I came up with this pattern. It's in the key of B minor. To find the key, you can go to the little arrow, go to helpers, scale highlighting. You got the keys in there, the root note, set it to the one you want, so minor or major. If you want, you can also set it to automatic. When you're gonna make the melody, it's gonna tell you basically which notes you can use. The notes that you can use are the ones that are light, and the ones you cannot use are the ones that are darker. Personally, for the melody, I used the minor natural preset on B minor, and I came up with this pattern. To get the guitar to sound a bit more realistic, I added these notes up there that are like effects notes. So to make the melody, I just built basic triads, and then I just inverted the middle note. I put it up an octave. Then this note I duplicated, put it up an octave, and I just drummed the notes. Also, I put a note in between to transition to the next chord, and then the next chord is built the exact same way. So basic triad, and then I just put it up an octave, and this time I didn't duplicate this one because it sounded too high. Then what I did, I just continued the chord progression that I was doing. So it's a basic chord progression used in a lot of guitar loops. Then I just basically did the same techniques that I use here for the chords. I just duplicated that over. The only difference is here I added these notes that make like a top melody on top of it. Without these notes, it sounds like this. And with the notes, it sounds like this. So yeah, it just gives a different feeling. So that's why I added these. Next, for the guitar lead, I used the same plugin, same preset, default preset, and I just came up with this pattern. So for the lead, what I did, I just looked at the ghost notes from the chords that you can see going there. Go to helpers, ghost channels, and then you're gonna see the notes in the background. So what I did, I just followed basically the root notes to make the lead, and I use the same notes that I use for the chords. Sometimes to give more bounce when you transition, you can cut the notes, because if I played this the whole time, it would sound like this. Then one tip I also can give you is when you make like leads that go down or go up with multiple notes, I would add these transition notes that are like not in the scale. As you can see, it's just a transition note. You can lower the velocity so it doesn't sound too loud, and it's gonna transition to the next note, and it will sound good every time. So without it, it would sound like this. As you can see, it just gives it that jazzy feeling, and I like that. So I do that with a lot of my melodies. So next, I just added a vocal. I just pitched it to the right key, and then I turned down the volume, put some effects. Next, I added this guitar one shot. Finally, I added this bass called Pickless Big Bass from Expand. For the pattern, I just followed the root notes of the guitar, and then I just added some notes to transition between them. So the pattern sounds like this. This is the same notes as the guitar lead. I just like sometimes to use them in the bass so they match and it sounds kind of cool. Then for effects, on the main guitar, I added guitar rig. The preset's called Jazz Amp Mono to Stereo. I just turned off the limiter. Then I turned down the mix a little bit. Then I add some reverb, a stereo control to make it wider. Lastly, I just added a simple EQ to cut the lows and boost a bit of the mids. For the lead, same reverb. This time no guitar rig. This time the stereo control is like all the way up so it sounds super wide. Then I added an EQ to cut the lows, and lastly an EQ to cut some of the frequencies that were clashing with the main guitar and boost a little bit of the highs. For the vocals, I added some reverb, stereo control to make it wide, and an EQ I cut a lot of the highs and a lot of the lows so it sounds kind of muffled. For the one shot, I just put some reverb on it, make it wider. For the bass, cut some of the highs. Also with bass and 808, you want to cut the very low frequencies if there are any. This is what the final loop sounds like. That's how you make guitar loops without a real guitar for no cap. If y'all enjoyed that tutorial, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.